KFR Talk. Kevin McCullough, so glad to have you with us in the AFA Today studios in Lower Manhattan, and it is a beautiful, sunshiny day in New York. It is a little cold for most of you across the country. Most of you would think in the 40s is chilly. We look at it as almost golfing weather compared to what we've had in recent weeks. But there is another polar vortex coming. I'm told that we will have snow tomorrow. It's just not fair. Anyway, it's also not fair that the administration has been stealing 2 million text messages a day. 2 million. I'm sorry, 200 million text messages a day. That they have been taking the messages as they've been given out. They've stored them. They've got them. Just like the phone calls that we found out, like in May. And hasn't it been just a parade of like circus acts since last February? Oh, we found out the IRS was denying 501c3s. We found out that, the Justice Department had been labeling reporters as, threats to the state. Going to the FISA court, lying about reporters, saying, oh, well, we need the right to tap his phone because, he's being a rogue agent. Little James Rosen, Fox News. Just sweet little reporter guy. 888-589-8840. So finally, after all of this stuff has continued to bubble up with no end in sight, the president addresses the American people today. Here's a third sample of what he said.
Third, there was a recognition by all who participated in these reviews that the challenges to our privacy do not come from government alone. Corporations of all shapes and sizes track what you buy, store and analyze our data, and use it for commercial purposes.
Now, see, this is the excuse that really burns me the most, because he's saying, well, what we're doing is not that bad because look at all everything everybody else is doing. Yeah, it's true that they are doing it. In the McCullough house, the lovely bride buys a lot of stuff online. She has it delivered to the house. She has some data with those retailers that she shops with, and, we get our packages and so forth. She actually gets a lot of our diapers and stuff delivered to the house, which is, to me, I'm willing to give them my address if I don't have to go to Target to get that stuff, because Target's also so safe to put your stuff into now. But anyway, so, but that, what the president fails to understand, what he seems to be completely knuckleheaded about here, is that in the process of us purchasing things from online retailers, we voluntarily give the information to the people that we choose to entrust with it. We don't voluntarily give the government permission to use the data that they're capturing from other places that they're getting it from. And this is a very typical response that every time a government tries to take information and privacy away from its citizens that it shouldn't have access to, they always pull this one. Third-party culpability. Brooke Goldstein was on this broadcast. She explained it all. When you sign up for a cellular carrier, technically they're a third party. They're not the party of you or the person you're calling. They're the person that places the call for you, Verizon or AT&T or whoever. When they do that, you say, well, you're giving up your privacy because they're facilitating that call. Therefore, the government comes in and goes, well, since you gave up the privacy to the Verizon, then you can give up the privacy to us. But it doesn't work that way, because I know that Verizon has access to my information. I gave them permission the day that I became a customer of theirs, or AT&T or whoever. I never once said it's okay for the government to have this information. And this is the same argument. He's making the same argument that has been actually shot down in courts before. That the third-party culpability, it doesn't apply to government, because we're not voluntarily entering into a Big Brother relationship with Uncle Sam. I want him out of my life. I don't want him in it more. 888-589-8840. 888-589-8840. Okay, enough of me. Your call's the rest of the way. Let's go to Patty in North Carolina. Hi, Patty. Welcome. You're on with Kevin McCullough.
Thanks, Kevin. Amen to what you said. Amen to what the young lady said. Amen to what the young man said about the two men who have lied. My question is this. I'm concerned about all of that. Why in the world, and what is the real reason that John Bonnier is not calling for a special committee to investigate Benghazi? Has he been threatened? Has he been blackmailed? Or has he just completely lost his mind?
No, I don't think it's. I don't think he's been blackmailed per se. I do think that Boehner has never been one of our friends. I think he's pretended to be a friend of conscientious conservatives at times, but I think a lot of times he's been more of a pragmatic Republican. This is why I don't wear a jersey. I'm not playing for a team. I hold to a set of principles that I believe to be true and valid. I believe in transcendent truth. I believe that transcendent truth should transcend politics and partisan sides. Establishment Republicans don't view it that way. Establishment Republicans want power as long as they have 51%. Then they get their pension and stay in power. They start to look a lot like liberal Democrats. I don't know why Mr. Boehner won't call for a committee, an investigation into Benghazi. It is certainly high time to do it, especially with what all came out last week. And now that we know that the president had two people come and meet with him moments after, within minutes, 15 minutes of the attack beginning, we knew that it was terrorists. They said it was terrorist in internal memos. They went to the president and said, Mr. President, this is terrorism. And somehow, some strange, inconceivable methodology produced Dr. Susan Rice on all the news shows saying, well, it was a spontaneous reaction to that video that, two people saw on all of the talk shows. And then Secretary of State Clinton and President Obama personally went to the Benghazi victims' families at Andrews, and they shook their hands and they said to their face one by one, we will get the guys who made that video. Great, Mr. President. Whatever. It had nothing to do with the guys who killed their sons. Friends, I think this is the point in time where the American people have to begin to roar, because they are obviously not listening to us. As we're trying to engage the discussion, they're not listening to conversation. So what happens when speech is ignored or speech is suppressed or speech is threatened? You talk louder. That's what you do. 888-589-8840. 888-589-8840. Let's go to David in Indiana. David, welcome. You're on with Kevin McCullough. So glad that you're here.
Pleasure to talk to you, Kevin. Talking about the president and his pack of lies, as I call it, to me, it seems like it's all planned. He seems like everything he does or says, it's been preordained, like months prior. So the knuckleheadedness that you mentioned, it's not knuckleheadedness. He knows what he's doing, and it's premeditated. And I think...
Well, I know that, David, but here's the problem. He does it with so little skill, it looks like he's a buffoon. I mean, and I'm not calling him a buffoon. I'm saying the action, the way his administration is so clunky.
Yes.
Like they don't look smart about anything. And you're going, yes. Okay, if you want to look like a bumbling, clown, this is the way that they do that. But yes, you're right. I think that there is a very sinister ideology driving the bottom line behind it.
Yes, I agree. And on the Benghazi, I mean, with him knowing what he did and everything, I think there should be more people rise up and cry for impeachment, at least, because, I mean, at least 10, 15 years ago, he would have been ran out of office for half the stuff that he's done. But the communications, for example, a lot of people keep forgetting that the major phone companies are trying to push to get rid of the landline so they'll have more cell phones. So that's kind of ironic, too.
Yeah. But, well, and some of us are doing it voluntarily. So,
Yes, that's true.
We have a landline in our house, but my wife and I don't use them. We do everything on our cells. It's just the curse of the day
And
that we're in, I guess. I'm not sure.
just last word from me. I am not signed up with Obamacare. I refuse to, and I will pay the tax. And I've personally been trying to withhold my taxes until I have to pay them, and just try to withhold my money from them as long as I can. So,
Well, and if you don't, and you don't necessarily have to pay the fine, David. There's organizations out there. I know one used to be a supporter of AFA. Maybe they still are. Medishare, that qualify, and they're actually medical care plans. They're not insurance, but they are creative plans that fall into that category that they have been given an exemption. So, all I'm saying is, obliterate confusion, amplify truth, seek clarity. That's what we always try to do. Use your critical thinking and creative skills to do anything but sign up for Obamacare, because I just don't think that that's going to benefit you. 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. Let's go to Gary in Texas next. Hi, Gary. Welcome. You're on with Kevin McCullough.
Yeah, I'm a dumb Texan, I guess, because I live south of Fort Worth, Texas, and I'm self-employed.
Wait, I'm confused, Gary. Why does that make you dumb?
Well, people associate Texans, I guess, as it still being, like we're on the open range and, kind of.
Gary, I'm a native Texan.
Well, that's
so
great.
I don't think that way at all. So don't you shy away from being who you are, sir.
Well, I've worked for years ago on the superconducting supercollider in Dallas, and it was a bunch of farm boys putting it together. This whole project, working with physicists, and one of the physicists said that hey, how can it be a whole bunch of these guys putting this project together? And we were downplayed like that. I guess that's where I got that from. But to make a long story short, how has this president stayed in office? How has our people, it was brought up earlier about I think it's fear. He's a black man. He's not totally black. He is mixed race. So many people are on welfare, it's incomprehensible, and what they can get on welfare for. I have 2 grandchildren.
Okay, Gary, you just lost me in those last 2 statements because they didn't really go together. I don't know what his race has to do with anything. I don't see his race when I look at him. I don't think that there's anything about his race that is significant. I think that it's the only grounds we have to criticize him for is not anything other than his policies and his competency in office. I think if we even allow the conversation to go to anything else, we're just going to end up shooting ourselves in the foot. We don't want to be doing that. Let's go to Barbara in Florida. Hi, Barbara. Welcome. You're on with Kevin McCullough. Glad you're here.
Hi, Kevin. God bless you, and thank you
too.
so much. I'm so glad that you do what you do.
Thank you.
I've been trying to get to a couple of programs with you guys, but I had actually just 4 concerns I haven't heard much about, and I listen very often as much as I can. So I don't know, if you just take notes or whatever, just listen. I'll just tell you what my concerns are.
Okay.
One is that he has officially listed all evangelical Christians as potential enemies.
Well, let's be accurate here, Barbara. He didn't do that. There was a memo that was circulated by the Secretary of TSA, Janet Napolitano, that identified evangelicals as potential terrorists. Yes, but the president himself didn't do that. But it is the thinking of his administration that evangelicals should be looked at somewhat suspect. The principle is true if the facts weren't exactly accurate. I understand.
All right. I'm sorry. What's EFA? What is that?
I'm sorry?
EFA, what does that stand for?
I'm not sure what EFA stands for.
Okay. But anyway, okay, and that's good to know. But now, so this was his official list, though, no? She made it up for him, or it's just totally her?
Yeah, that was a document that was circulated within the national security circles and they put a lot of really weird things on that list. Catholics were also on the list. There were other things listed on there, but one thing that they left off was like radical jihadists. So I don't know how serious that list was ever actually even considered.
Exactly. Now, that's the whole thing. So how can all these groups that make up America be the enemy unless this is a Muslim nation you're talking about? Now,
well, and we know that it's not.
My second comment is that I heard on a TV on one of the programs that's on there, the Watchmen, I think it was. It could have been, I think it was the Watchmen, where the head of Secretary of Homeland Security, I think it was, either
right.
he or the other guy said that as far as he's concerned, America is already a Muslim nation.
I don't know anything about that, Barbara. To be honest, I've never heard that be said, so I'm going to have to let it go on that. Thank you for everyone who called. AFA Today, of course, comes your way every single day at the same time on AFR Talk. The president saying, in essence, this morning in his speech, he gets your pain, he hears your message, he knows you're worried about the national security intelligence, them taking all your secrets, 200 million text messages, et cetera, et cetera. He's going to store it somewhere else, but he's not going to stop the program. He spent 45 minutes to tell you what I just said. Don't you wish you had that morning back? Anyway, Kevin McCullough, I hope you have a great weekend, and we will talk to you on Monday. Brian Fisher, Focal Point, coming up next here on AFR Talk.